Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today we're going to talk about the Z1's package 400 horsepower package for the VQ motors. But before I get into the video, guys, I have a new direct contact. You can contact me at boostinmotion@gmail.com, boostinmotion on Instagram, and boostinmotion on Facebook for any questions or inquiries. But let's get into the video. Alright guys, so I've been getting this question a lot, right? Is the Z1 400 horsepower package good or not? So in this video, I want to overlay the pros and cons of it and some additional hardware you're going to need to get to that 400 horsepower to the crank. And that's the first thing I want you guys to talk about. First thing, this is a 400 horsepower to the crank and not to the wheels. People keep getting this confused. You gotta remember, guys, that if you have a stick shift car or the transmission, right, you're gonna have a certain amount of drivetrain loss because it takes power to turn these components from the wheels, the drive axle, the drive shaft, the transmission. You lose power. So that's why you always see to the crank and to the wheels. Now essentially, the Z1 package is supposed to allow you to go to about 340 to 350 to the wheels, with their specific modifications and tuning. And here's what happens, what usually happens is you have that drivetrain loss. So usually you'll make about 340, 350 to the wheels, but you're 400, 410 to the crank. Now, let's go into part number 2. This package is about $1,600, right? Shipped to your door. It's gonna include headers, test pipes, and an intake manifold. That intake manifold is actually off the VQ35 HR motors. That's from the 2007 and up, before they changed to the 37. That manifold just breathes better, and somehow somebody went out there, took their time out and found out if they just drill other holes in it, they can use that manifold so that the 37 can actually breathe a lot better. So that's one thing. And there's a core charge for that. So if you buy this package, you're supposed to give them your old intake manifold because it just has a core charge. I think it's like $260 or something. Now number 2, you're gonna have headers. These headers could actually be used from the DE to the HR to the VHR, right? And here's a problem with these headers. The problem with these headers is they're not allowed. You cannot use them with the all-wheel drive. You're gonna have to pretty much re-weld them and everything because the drive axles and other brackets are in the way. So essentially, those headers are really only for the people who are rear-wheel drive. So that's one of the takebacks of that. And at about $1,100 for those headers, I believe. They're quite expensive, but in the package itself, it's a really great package. Now, how can you guys get around that? And we'll talk a little bit about that a little later because I'm not really that much of a fan of headers, but let's just get into the next part about it. Test pipes. They also sell their test pipes on this site, excuse me. And these test pipes are great. Once again, you're removing the catalytic converter material, which means you have pretty much open flow. You decat your system, right? Now they have that for a specific price. I don't know how much that costs, but I'm gonna jump in here and say this: you don't have to go buy the Z1 Motorsports test pipes. You can choose to buy Berks or cheaper ones without flex pipes or resonated on it, so you can save a little bit of money on that. And finally, the last thing that's gonna be involved is what they don't include in it: cold air intake. Yes, for the VQ guys, you're gonna need a cold air intake, the one that doesn't sit in the engine bay, the one that comes to the front of the car for your G or your 370Z. That's an additional price. So you might go buy a Takeda or a STILLEN or their own Z1 Motorsports for an additional $400 to $600. That's on top of the $1,600 you're spending if you're a road drive guy, right? So that puts you right around that $2,200. Another thing they don't include is a Catback exhaust. So you guys, if you have a 350Z or a G37 or a Q50, that Catback exhaust could be between $600 up to $2 to $3 grand. So that's another additional price of, I would just say, of $1,000. That puts you at $3,200. Excuse me, guys, $3,200 or $3,000 with the additional Catback and the additional intake. Just roughly, just throwing that price out there. Finally, what they don't include is you getting an up-rev tune or an ECU tech tune for your car. That could be additional $600 to $1,000. Now, for about $4 to $5 grand, all depending on if you buy their package and you kind of like mix up some of the parts a little bit, you'll have a 400 horsepower to the crank VQ motor. And this is actually where I get a lot of the confusion. People get upset with me about saying this is actually worth the price. Honestly, just drawing this up for you guys and framing it for you guys a little bit, I don't think it's really worth the money. I mean, at the end of the day, if I have a G37, at which I do really want to get another G37, a coupe, I'm not gonna go buy expensive test pipes. There are cheaper test pipes on the market, and some people don't like me being cheap. I'm gonna get like OBX exhaust. They're relatively affordable and cheap and sound relatively good. And then here's a little secret if you guys can do that all-wheel drive. If depending on where you live, don't get test pipes. I mean, don't get headers. Just don't buy them. You can use your test pipes and back. The stock headers flow quite well. They're just not as wide as going with the headers that Z1 and other companies have sell. So they have, I think, of a 3 to 2 to 1 design rather than a 3 to 1 design. So there is a bit less flow with the stock headers, but they flow really quite well. And you save yourself a lot of money not installing them. Number 2, for some of you guys who live around E85 stations, right? What you can do is you could actually buy some GTR injectors, or there's a few other injectors you can buy on the market, and swap those into your car and run full E85. The gains that you're going to get on E85 is the gains you'll get off of headers if you tuned on headers. You see what I'm saying? And you save so much money. And GTR injectors could be, a set of 6 used could be about $150 to $300, and you install them yourself. And finally, I forgot to throw this in here too, guys, so don't get mad at me. Installation. Someone has to install these parts. Some performance shops charge between $125 to $175 per hour. So, I mean, you're going in and install your catback, your test pipe, your headers, and your intake manifold. Come on, guys. And your intake. I'm just being serious here. So this could bring you all the way up to the price of, in my mind, mentally, $5,000, $6,000 if you really want to do it. If you want to go all the way out and get fully 85 tune with Takeda intakes, with intake manifold swap, with their headers, their test pipes, and a catback exhaust, I'm thinking in my head 6-7 G's with installation and tuning. Just being fair here, guys. Honestly, at that point, I don't think that this package is not necessarily worth it. You can find cheaper components to get it done and get to it to bring down that price all the way a lot more cheaper than that. But I don't think this package is actually the best bang for its buck. Some of you guys may unsubscribe from me for saying that, but I don't think so. There's other parts on this on the market that you could buy to bring down the price of it, but just because the headers don't fit, there's a way to get around the headers. So otherwise than that, guys, no disrespect, I'm still gonna put the link below to their package. I do believe they sell other good quality parts. You can still definitely go and buy them. But at the end of the day, you can check the link below. You can go check out their website. They have a lot of parts. I have a lot of respect for you, Z1 Motorsports. I have a lot of respect for you guys at the end of the day. But I don't think your package is honestly worth it. So this is Boost Motion signing out. You can contact me at Boost Motion on Facebook, Instagram, and Boost Motion on Gmail. I appreciate you very much. Any inquiries or questions, send it to those links below. And guys, thank you. You have an amazing morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you, guys.